Hello everybody, I'm Cloudplayer. This is my first Rebel Inc. Escalation guide video on YouTube. I'm Chinese, and my English is not very good, sorry about this. The general is an unmanageable governor. Many players can't take advantage of the general's star to unlock military initiatives, and passively invest in civilians that generals are not good at. Although there are quite a few related videos, the performance is not very good. Did not reflect the general's style of work. So this video will take map 2 as an example to explain in depth how to use the general. If you want to use generals well, you first need to know what you can do by unlocking military initiatives ahead of time. 1. Training the national army. 2. Use soldiers to gather intelligence and destroy the camp. 3. Build garrison. 4. Save inflation. Many people may immediately have questions about 1 to 4, but these are not the focus right now. Let's start with 3. There are 2 purposes for building garrison. 1. Stable. 2. Combat. The general's stabilization method is rather special. When the player is playing the normal governor, it is usually stabilized with a lot of civilian initiatives. This kind of stabilization method will appear the phenomenon that there is no stable area at the beginning, and then there will be many stable areas quickly. If you draw a graph, it will look like this. You will find that your stable progress in the mid and late stages is very high compared to the lack of stability. In other words, a lot of stability resources are wasted. This is acceptable for normal governors, but the stability fee for generals is too high to be acceptable. What we need is a relatively cheap stable way to avoid the problem of the high cost of general greening as much as possible, and then spend more money on the military that he is good at. No one wants to spend money on inefficient initiatives, right? To solve this problem, we need to introduce a concept, long-term stability and short-term stability, on the topic of stability. What is long-term stability? Civilian initiatives are typical long-term stability. They will not give support at the moment of your investment, but increase support one by one during construction. With the increase of construction progress, the support given will also increase. The support they provide is like a quadratic function. Not much in the early stages but very large in the middle and late stages. What is short-term stability? The civil support of the garrison is a typical short-term stability. He will provide a lot of support after the investment, and then it will be gone. The support he provides is like a square root function. Very noticeable in the early stages and notably lacking in the later stages. Obviously, as generals, we only need to meet the most basic livelihood issues. It is just enough to cope with the lack of stability, and there should not be a phenomenon of stability overflow like other governors. Achieve short-term stability through the garrisons plus civil support approach, then address concerns and invest in a little civilian initiative to achieve long-term stability. Forming a stable situation that just avoids a lack of stability. Therefore, garrisoning is the key to the general's solution to stability. He can generate stability earlier and solve the general's initial lack of stability. Now, you may have a general understanding of how generals green, but you are still confused about fighting. Still think that the general's advantages are not enough to make up for the shortcomings of people's livelihood. This is normal, because to play the way a general should be, it takes a concept that subverts conventional thinking. The general's garrison has another advantage. Since there is no intelligence at the beginning of Mega Brutal, we can take advantage of the lack of intelligence. Let the soldiers go to a place where you want to build a garrison to collect intelligence, and then buy a garrison. You can designate a region to build a garrison to form a strong suppression of the rebels. Here's the point, we have to understand one of the most important mechanics. When coalition soldiers are moving, their deployment time stops losing. If you kill all the rebels, then congratulations, your soldiers will not have any loss. You'll be able to focus on solving other, more important problems for a long period of time without adding new military forces. Many people mistakenly believe that killing all the rebels at the beginning will cause the rebels to counterattack very strongly and appear everywhere. In fact, this is not the case. It is just that the counterattack is slightly stronger at the beginning. And the incorrect way of killing rebels will only exhaust the troops. Rebels can't be replenished quickly. They need to be trained. If the eradication is carried out quickly with the correct method of eradication, the number of combatants of the rebels will not be enough to launch an attack. And our soldiers will not need to fight. What is the correct way to kill? It is efficiently push the rebels back to the kill point and then destroy them. How to push. The most important thing is to figure out how the rebels escaped. The following is not very accurate, but enough for everyone. 1. If there is an effective military force there, they will not choose this place. 2. If the rebels walked from a certain area to the current location a short time ago, this place is preferred. 3. Otherwise, if there are rebels, there are red zones. There are camps, and the terrain is poor, the escape priority will be increased. Knowing this, we can follow the steps below to annihilate the rebels. 1. Determine the route of repelling and consider factors such as the feasibility of the route and the cost of eradication. 2. Deploy troops in advance in the area of the forced retreat route where the escape priority is higher than the area on the forced retreat route, so as to prompt the rebels to flee towards the predetermined route. If the conditions are good, troops can be deployed in other areas that are conducive to the plan to speed up the repulsion or prepare for the next plan in advance. 3. Repeat 1 and 2 after hearing this. You should understand the meaning of 1, 2, 4. 1. Compared with other governors to kill the rebels quickly, the general does not need to buy coal. 4. 2. Generals don't need to worry too much about being attacked on both sides and don't need a census. 4. The general does not need to buy a large number of military items in a short period of time to generate a lot of inflation like other rulers in order to kill the rebels quickly. Economist. Are you kidding me? After talking so much, you may still not be very good at playing generals. This is a normal phenomenon. To be proficient in these things, you need not only understanding, but also practice. Another point, this is not the only way to play, don't get it wrong. Enjoy the video.